Hey guys, welcome back to part 2 of season 4, episode 6, The Model. With me are my panel, JeremiahDrigg, SolidSmurf, and John from Wargaming Painting, and we're going to continue on with question number 4. Question number 4, on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being no influence, 10 being the only deciding factor, regardless of the game, how much does the paintability of the model determine your interest in purchasing said model? Yes, paintability might be a completely made-up word, but I'm trying to get to that notion of level of detail, ease of painting, things that matter when you're trying to put paint on bare plastic, metal, whatever. And with that, we're going to start the question answering with SolidSmurf. Yes.
So I'm going with a 2 because there are so many options for new painters out there in supplies, in tutorials, and stuff like that. Now, even compared to 4 or 5 years ago, there's so much information and tools out there that there's no reason why someone shouldn't be able to enter into the hobby as a new painter and sit down and do a tabletop, basic model. I'm not saying they're going to go out and win a Golden Demon with this, but they will have a decent looking model. So, no, it should not, no, 2.
Okay, and I guess I want to specify here we're not just talking about Wargamer. The hobbyists can be kind of included in all this. And still 2?
Right.
Okay.
Still a 2. I mean, there's no reason why a new painter shouldn't be able to sit down,
we got it. We got it. John from Wargaming Painting, what's your thoughts?
I feel much more comfortable now. Smurf is wrong. I'm giving it a 10. Models absolutely reflect interest in painting them. Big open spaces make people feel really comfortable. Tiny little things like infinity scares people. Many painters are claustrophobic in that sense. So for getting into a game, which is the way that I'm reading this, getting into a game, the bigger the model, the happier the guy is that's buying it.
Well, this is just purchasing an individual model.
Oh, just purchasing the model? I'm still going to give it a 10 then, because I don't want to go blind painting these little tiny ant models.
Right. So, and if you think Infinity Small, I guess Plans of War just not even a consideration.
Not even a game. Nope, not even thinking about it.
Dip it.
Nice. JeremiahDrigg, since John has given us 2 10s, which were the only factor available, go ahead. Let us know what your thoughts are.
I'm going to rate this pretty low myself. I think it's a 4. I would say 4, 3, somewhere around there. It's definitely, to me, it's not a deciding factor, and I don't think it would be a deciding factor anymore for a lot of other people. SolidSmurf said something that really that's really true with like the new paints, they're dumbing down painting for people so much that, I mean, like the new paints that GW put out, even though I don't like them, I don't think it was going in the right direction. I think they really aim that stuff for new players coming in and people that just don't know much about it. I mean, they've dumbed it down so much. It's like, here's your base coat, here's your layer, here's your whatever. So it's pretty low for me.
All right. I actually disagree with both Smurf and Jeremiah, just not as strongly as John. I think for the average war game or person in the hobby, I think the reality is that it's probably closer to a 6 or 7, because even if remember that paintability doesn't just mean ease of painting, it might also be the level of detail. And I think to that degree that there is a lot of interest in seeing quite a bit of detail that you might be able to dry brush fairly easily on or whatnot. Now, and so that Tony, when he sees this video, doesn't call me out on this, me personally, I would give it about a 1 because I don't paint anymore. And with that, we'll have continued discussion.
I really think, I don't know, like, GW has their set of do this, this, and this, and you'll have a model that looks fantastic, but you pay for that at a premium, and you're paying through your wallet, and it hurts. That's why I don't do it. But it's if glazes, washes, and primer coats were available 4 years ago or 5 years ago, whenever I started painting, my painting style would be drastically different than it is now. I had no one to sit me down and go, this is how you prime a model. That you should prime a model. If you see my first miniatures, they were towel. They had no primer on them. I was painting on top of gray plastic and nothing stuck. Yay. And it looks hilarious now. So, it comes down to the sculpt. It really does. Because if you have a poorly sculpted miniature, when you put a wash on it or a glaze or something like that, it's not going to grab like it's supposed to. If you do a layer, it's not going to grab like it.
Are you changing your number?
To the sculpt.
Are you changing your number?
No.
Okay.
No. I just think we have, across the board, we have fantastic miniatures that are really easy to paint. So.
Right. I think if I was still in the painting mindset, that I would agree with you. I got burnout, but again, when you look at paintability as a factor, I know it's a very vague notion. But you could even consider speed of painting, right? Because I think for the average wargamer, they don't want to spend 90% of the time that they're in a particular hobby game assembling and painting a model. They're just not going to want to do it. They want it to be at the very least 50-50, but probably for non-hardcore hobbyists, far more like 20-80, right? Playing the game 80% of the time. It doesn't often work that way, but I think for the average mindset, you're going to want to invest about only 20% of your time actually painting your miniature. You want to get it out there on the table and say, look, my painting's done and here it is. And speed of your ability to paint the model quickly might be another factor of that paintability.
I think you put your finger right on it earlier, too, is with the internet now being so prevalent, painting services are sprouting up. So you don't even have to deal with it anymore.
Yeah.
Like if you like a model, you don't even have to paint it anymore. So it's becoming almost a non-issue. If you have the money to be in the hobby, because let's face it, it's not cheap, whatever game you're getting into. And then especially when you buy one of each starter kit so you can go do demos to get more people to play it.
Who does that?
It becomes from a really cheap game to being back expensive again. So if you're willing to dish out the cash for the hobby, you probably can dish out the money to get your army painted too. As long as you find a reasonably priced guy, you don't go to mainstream ones because they'll, you'll have to go to court and tell the judge where they touched you inappropriately. But if you Google search it for 10 minutes, you can find some guy who's going to do it cheaper.
I'm gonna have to rewatch this episode and figure out how he went down that rabbit hole. Jeremiah, you have any extra thoughts before we quickly go to question number 5?
No, not right now.
Okay, thank you.
I really just don't see it as being. Go ahead.
All right, good call. So guys, question number 5 is a very special question. It actually won our competition when we were asked you guys to go ahead and give us a question that you would like to see on the RTD. So, again, this was the award-winning question, question number 5. Is the fact that most models come bare and require painting and I'm going to say painting and assembly, limiting the size of the wargaming industry? And let's see. Jeremiah, you're up. No, wait a minute. No, it's John. John from Wargame Painting, give us your answer.
I'm going to say yes. Again, been becoming more active at my local game store and just seeing what's going on there. HeroClix is incredibly popular. Easy 30 to 40 people a night there for HeroClix. 40K War Machine, all the other tabletop stuff, 20-ish people maybe. So they've got us by a good margin. So I'm going to say that other than price, really, but I think that goes hand in hand with pre-painted stuff. Pre-painted stuff is usually cheaper because it's made in China and just, little 12-year-old kids getting paid 25 cents an hour.
And the countdown begins.
All right, I'm done.
Fantastic.
I'm done.
Jeremiah, your turn.
Do I think it's limiting? I don't know if it's limiting, because even with those, you have the things like Hero Clicks that are pre-painted, Mage Knight, that's one that comes to my mind. A lot of those people that were playing Mage Knight were repainting them anyway. So I don't know if it's so much limiting. I think the thing that's a difference between stuff like Hero Clicks and say 40K is more price than it is paint.
Okay. Smurf, what's your thoughts?
I'm hitting the middle road of both of them. It's not just the assembly and the paint. It's not just the price. It's both. I don't think people have a problem paying that for models, but it's in the fact that then they have to assemble and paint them. I don't think it's that they have to paint them. I think it's that they have to pay that price and then paint them. It's both of those combined. It's a combination of the two. It's like combination platter at an Asian restaurant.
The reason, one of the big reasons this question won was probably because it was so freaking difficult to answer. You have this situation where if it's pre-painted, stores like Walmart, Target, that's where you can actually start selling it there, and it's going to be reaching far more people than the little hobbyist stores that are sitting literally behind grocery stores in Raleigh. Okay. So yes, you're going to, with pre-painted miniatures, if you get them to, outlets where the average Joe person can look for toys, then yes, the answer is yes, pre-painted miniatures can definitely sell way better than ones you have to assemble yourself. However, we've already seen time and time again where that formula, when you didn't get it out to Walmart, like Mage Knight, like Dungeons & Dragons miniatures, like everything else, that follows suit with that, when it wasn't HeroScape and it wasn't HeroClix, and they didn't get it out to Walmart and Target, it didn't matter. They did not sell, not well enough to stay in business. So, continued discussion. I don't know where to go with this.
I would like to just throw this out really fast.
I think we all have
Everybody's
good points.
playing HeroClix is like 12 and under. That's just to rub salt in the Smurfs' wounds.
Well, regardless, though, you gave them so many props by saying that they way outnumber the people who actually play any other game at your store, which I think is cool. But I mean, you can actually expand this question to be anything that doesn't require assembly and painting, right? Look at how many people play Magic the Gathering compared to tabletop games. I don't know about you guys, but when they have Magic the Gathering tournaments every week at my local game store, 40 to 50 people without blinking an eye.
I can top that. I go to one of the top 5 game stores for Magic the Gathering, top 5 in the nation. They had 85 people show up last Friday night.
Yeah. So if I don't have to do all this work to start playing this game, of course I'm going to get into this game. This is the reason why people buy board games that have the pre-painted miniatures and stuff. You know, it's boom. One small price, can buy it at Target. You know, bring it home. Family game at night. We break it open. Play. I would love to see this hobby big, expand. Right? I would love to see the numbers in this who are people who are interested in this kind of thing expand. We are in a really, really, really small minority. Really small.
No, this is definitely a niche kind of game. You know, I tell people about, this hobby a lot, and they look at me like, most people, it takes a certain type of person to be interested in this type of game. I tell people, in my family, and most of the time they look at me like, you still play with little toys? How old are you?
Oh, man, when the in-laws come over, there's no table set up back here. Oh, I use this whole area for working out. That's why I got my Wii Fit here. All right. So anyways, let's continue on to question number 6. Question number 6 is the penultimate RTD question. Of course, it's our prediction question. Make a prediction, no matter how outlandish, about the future of models and their influence on the hobbyist wargaming industry. And for this, we will start with
SolidSmurf.
No, we'll start with JeremiahDrigg.
My prediction is, I don't even know if this is so much a prediction as it is just basically the way things are working. Models are going to get slightly bigger with slightly better, always get improving sculpts, more detail. They're just going to get better and better and better as time goes on. We'll have better paint jobs. People are getting into it. So we see so many more people using airbrushes now compared to brushes. Paint jobs are going to get better, more detailed. The models are going to get better and better and better.
All right. SolidSmurf.
I see a lot of pre-made stuff, like things that are, insta-fit, like 2-part models and things like that. I think things are gonna get easier on the assembly end. And I see the painting part becoming, I don't want to say more mainstream, but not as much as a hindrance, that companies are going to look at, hey, people have to paint our stuff too. Let's make it easier on them. Let's make more sources available to them.
All right. John, what's your thoughts?
Go
outlandish, man. Go outlandish. No, just kidding. Do whatever you want. Sorry. Had to throw that out.
We're going to get little holographic platforms to play all of our miniatures on. And we can use MS Paint to choose the paint colors that we want on these things. And they're all going to be painted all the colors of the rainbow.
Everyone's playing Eldar Harlequin. Gotcha. All right. What's your real prediction?
My real prediction is we're not going to see a change, and we're going to see the branches. We're going to see pre-painted stuff, and we're going to see hobby aspect of it. And they're never going to change between those because there's always going to be the guys who want to build and paint their stuff, and there's always going to be the guys who just want to sit down and play with their kit. So those are going to be the two branches, and we're not going to see that deviate.
All right. I'm going to go ahead and throw out my prediction, which is that it's the sheer number of types of different models that are coming out is going to completely boom shortly, and it's not going to necessarily be a good thing. But with programs like Kickstarter and with the ability for just any Joe Schmo to actually make a model via 3D printing, via other techniques, which quite honestly are getting so cheap that almost anyone can get into the game if they really, really wanted to. Not saying they'd make a profit, I'm saying they could get into the game. You're going to get to a point where there's so many war games out that the same kind of problem that exists in board games, which is back in the day when board games first came out, everyone knew what Monopoly was. In fact, even today, everyone knows what Monopoly is. But if I look at a board game that was created even 2 years ago, like Carcassonne, good luck knowing whether or not anyone is going to know it because anyone can make board games now. So the problem that you're going to have is that notion of a pop culture identity within our tiny little niche is actually going to become harder and harder to achieve. And it's going to be those companies that push forward with getting their models and their IP into other media outlets like movies and whatnot, that's going to make the difference on whether or not we remember them 2 years after they come out. And that's the conclusion, guys, of the episode 6, season 4 of the RTD, The Model. Hope you guys had a good one. Please leave any questions or thoughts below because we would love to hear from you guys. Love getting the as many answers as we can to this, and have a good one.